Hi everyone, this is Erica from Confessions of a Homeschooler, and today I have a new unit study to share with you. This one is The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, and of course it's the Classic Starts version, which is great for younger readers, I would say elementary level students. And this one's a little bit different than the other books we do. Instead of chapters, it's actually a compilation of 6 short stories of the Sherlock Holmes adventures, and so it gives them a good taste of what Sherlock Holmes is all about and his partner Watson, and they're actually quite fun to read through. So I'll show you the inside of this lap book. If you want to stick around, I'll be right back. So here's the front of the lap book, and it's just a regular trifold like all of my unit studies. And then you'll notice inside there's a lot less mini books. Like I said, it's actually a compilation of 6 short stories. So each story has its own little set of questions for your students to answer. And so they're all like these little mini books that your students will create to kind of help remind them what happened in each chapter. So this one flaps up, and then there's also a couple of more books in here, and then there's always a vocabulary in my units, and that just helps your students get familiar with some of the maybe harder, more difficult words to understand before they read through this, so as they're reading the story they understand it a little bit better. So that's the inside of the lap book. And then if you fold it over, I just created a pocket on the back. This is just a half a file folder taped around the edges to create a pocket. So here's our reports. This one includes a predictions worksheet, so your student will look at the front of the Sherlock Holmes book and just just from the illustration decide if they can tell what this story is about, when it takes place, that kind of thing. It also comes with this timeline, and for this I just have my students fill out specific events that occur in the story that they think are notable or memorable, and they can either write something in these boxes or they can write, draw a simple picture or whatever to go with it. The other report that is included is the facts report. It talks about the setting, the plot, the main character, their favorite thing about the story, and that also gives them a spot to illustrate. And then there's always a protagonist versus antagonist report. It talks about what those two terms mean, who they might be, what the problem is and what the solution is. And then there's one final book report that they can do that just talks about the author, the illustrator, a summary of the story, and then the report. And since this book is a little bit different with the short stories, I might have them pick their favorite short story and just do a report on that, or if you have an older student, you could have them do more than one. And then if you can find a movie version of some of the Sherlock Holmes adventures, that might be kind of a fun way to compare it to what they've read in the book. This report is for that. It talks about similarities, differences, the characters, and which version they prefer, the movies or the books, and why. So those are the reports that go with my story. And then of course, with all my units, I have a teacher's manual that will tell you what to do on each day. It tells you the materials that you'll need, what you need to do to prepare. Anything you need to do prior to reading, I usually have them do the predictions worksheet and the vocabulary prior. And then here's instructions on how to fill out the timeline. And then I'll show you up close. So here's an up-close version of one of the chapters, and like I said, since these are short stories, the instructions for each chapter are a little bit longer. I've broken up the reading into sort of manageable amounts for each section, and then there's instructions on which pages to read, and the questions that go in the mini books for your students are in your teacher's manual, as well as the answers for those, so you're not having to pre-read the book for them. So you can assign out that specific page number and then have them go through the reading and answer the questions, and then you can just check their work when they're done with the work for that day. So that is our Adventures of Sherlock Holmes Lapbook Unit Study. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at erica@confessionsofahomeschooler.com, or you can always visit my website as well at www.confessionsofahomeschooler.com. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.